Hello friends, my name is RagePanda1 and we were not going to do a video today, but they just released these guys into the renowned champions section and you know I gotta cover it for you, so here we are. Who needs a break anyway? These kits are very complicated and they could be very cool or they could just have a lot of ways that they could be bad. Before we get into the champions, I want to address the change to Vigor. I'm not prepared to fully talk about it and give you my full opinion on it, but my initial thoughts are that I hate it and it sucks, and my secondary thoughts are that at least they're making a legitimate cap and they're removing the extra vigor that people currently have. If this is the end of the story and that's all they're changing, then it's a garbage fix. If it's a band-aid until they can fix it more, then it's fine. So I'm not going to be mad about it right now for my own mental health, but I do think that it's a bad change and that people that were obviously cheating should be punished for obviously cheating. If you are making sure that you can get extra stats that you're not supposed to have, that is called cheating, and I do not want it in my game, and I do not like people that are willing to do that to other people to get ahead. I think those are bad people. Don't be a bad person, just do the right thing. So this wall of text is our passive, and it is called Blessing of Nature. Each normal attack heals the ally with the lowest percentage of health for 80% of the champion's strength, and reduces the damage taken by the ally by 20% for 5 seconds. This stacks up to 3 layers. That heal is not that good. It's really not that good, but it is just on normal attacks, so maybe by having agile on this character, it'll turn out to be something worth having. Their strength isn't all that high to begin with, but since it's on every normal attack, I think that that could be good. I think it pairs very well with male White Eyes. Female Lionstone is fine, but I think male White Eyes is better for this use because we want to get more attacks, and the 20% attack speed is going to help us do that. The damage reduction, of course, is going to be very good. So already, even if that was the whole passive, it's going to be very good. The healing will be noticeable. It's not going to be game-breaking. It'll be noticeable, and the damage reduction is very good. After casting the ultimate skill for the first time, this champion transforms permanently into the Sylvan Guardian form and gains a layer of roots. Now, I'm not sure if that means that the first part of the passive goes away and you get this new one instead. That would make sense because you're transforming, but it doesn't say that that happens, so maybe you just get both of them. Now, a little bit of a discrepancy here is that it says that it permanently changes into Sylvan Guardian form and gains 1 layer of roots, except when you look at the ultimate, it says you gain 3 stacks of roots, so we'll see which one that actually is. And after that, you'll gain another stack of roots every 8 seconds. Each layer of roots heals the champion for 7% of max health per second. That seems like it could be super strong. And unfortunately, because he has more than one mechanic for healing, we're never really going to get to see what the normal attack healing is on its own. But like I said, I think it's going to be noticeable, but not great. Unless you're building strictly to make it great, and that's a different story. When you're inflicted with control effects or being moved under other control effects, you will consume a layer of roots to gain immunity to that effect, ignore the damage, and reduce the cooldown of any active skill for 4 seconds. Now, does that mean that it's everybody's active skill? Because it says any skill. Does it pick one of some random person on your team? Is it only for your active skill? Not super clear, not great wording, and I don't love that this is a game where they have, number one, bad translations, and they tend to have little things here and there that don't work. I don't like having a super complicated kit in that system, and this is by far the most complicated kit that we are looking at in the game so far. I haven't looked at the females yet. If hers is worse, we will tell you then. When in Elven form, the active skill deals damage equal to 400% of the champion's strength, which is not that much, to the enemy with the highest attack and inflicts weaken on the enemy, reducing their strength by 30% for 5 seconds. There are multiple ways you can reduce strength in this game, and I think that stacking them could be very good. Of course, this is only stacking it on one person, but still, putting him with male Samir, that strongest person on their team, now has like 65% reduced strength if you're at max level. That's kind of a big deal. I think that could be really good. When you're in Guardian form, you are going to inflict entangled effects to nearby enemies for 3 seconds. I'm assuming that means rooting them in place. Of course, they have a different effect called root, which is you know, I think maybe they're not aware of what things are normally called in the English language. They're kind of all over the place with their nomenclature. But during the 3 seconds of that rooting effect, which is an AoE, it deals damage up to 350% of the champion's strength during this period. Now, that's not a huge amount of strength that it does, and he doesn't have a huge amount of strength to start with, but if he did, he would be overpowered just from these 2 abilities alone, so I think it's going to balance out okay. Yet again, we have a wall of text here. That's because these abilities switch when they're going into their different forms. This is the aspect of the Sylvan Guardian. When casting this skill for the first time, the champion teleports to the ally with the lowest health percentage damage and transforms into their Sylvan Guardian form. I think that the reason it does that, there's a small AoE knockback and a small AoE taunt, and it just can kind of save somebody's life if they're in trouble in melee combat. This does 420% damage to enemies and knocks them back a short distance with the 1 second taunt effect, which is not really going to do anything because it's 1 second long and they're already being knocked back. But it does get the attention off of your allies, and I think that's its only purpose. When transforming into their Guardian form, the champion instantly gains 3 layers of roots and receives increased healing from their roots by 20% and an additional 7% damage reduction for each layer of roots, lasting for 8 seconds. So definitely you want to have Devout on this guy's team. That's going to be super helpful for you. He's going to be great in sustain teams because that's what he's already trying to do. He's not going to do all that much damage, but he might do just a little bit, and he'll do a little spot healing for you on your low players to help them with those sustain comps. But he, in my opinion, is not a healer on his own. So upon initial reading, assuming everything works exactly as it should, you're going to want to male Aeson on his team, because you always do, because male Aeson is the best, and he's going to work well with male Lume as well, which is great because male Aeson and male Lume are a great team together. Because of all of the healing that he stacks up along his kit, this is actually one character where I would probably just as a standard go for Honorable over Energetic, because when you're doing a lot of healing, Honorable gains in value, and having Energetic is just one flat value at the start, and that's all that you're going to get from a benefit from it. So those are my initial thoughts on this guy. He's very overcomplicated, but if the kit works well, it's going to be a fun kit. And he's going to look really cool on the field. Let's just say that right now. He does have really high base health, so especially if you're going hard on Constitution, you're probably going to end up building Energetic and Honorable on this guy. So when I say I would take Honorable instead, that's if you're only taking one, and you're probably rarely going to do that. So just keep that in mind. So now on to the female with more walls of text. I've done a quick read through here, and I gotta say I think that she's going to be way better. So when she's taking damage, she's going to gain a 4-second healing effect that heals for 300% of her strength and gains damage reduction. Additionally, energy charge increase amount by 4%. Not exactly sure what that means. It might just mean that when you get hit, you get an extra 4% of your energy bar. Not totally sure on that. Healing, damage reduction, and energy charge can stack up to 5 layers, which means that if you walk in and everybody instantly hits you at the same time, you're going to get 1,500% of your strength returning to you as a heal and giving you damage reduction. That is crazy strong. That is more scaling, I believe, than the female Aeson single heal on her ultimate. Now, it requires everybody to hit you to be able to do that, but we're not even halfway through the passive yet. I think that's going to be really, really strong. And I think you're going to be building strength, and you're going to make sure Devout's on the team for her as well. When she's transformed into her Sylvan Avenger form, she further increases healing and damage reduction by 20%, and it stacks up to 10 layers. Ladies and gentlemen, 10 layers. This passive buff applies also to all allies. However, it does have a reduced effect. It's going to grant healing and damage reduction when they take damage, and the amount is 100% of the champion's stats instead of 300, and it may stack up to 3 layers instead of 5 or 10. Now, it does mention that those numbers are for when the champion is in their basic form. So if she transforms, that may be better as well. I'm not sure. It doesn't need it. This passive is awesome. That's going to be a lot of healing. A lot of healing. Her active skill plants a parasitic seed on enemies in a cone ahead of her. Hey, they're out of pie and they're out of fans, and now they're talking about their cones again. Someday they'll pick a consistent naming scheme. I hope they go for cone because that is what I'm used to in gaming. The seed reduces enemy attack speed and deals damage equal to 350% of the champion's strength. Wish we could see how much attack speed that was reducing. Wouldn't be surprised if it's 30%. That seems to be about standard. In the meantime, she self-heals equal to the damage dealt. When transformed into her Sylvan Avenger form, her parasitic seeds spread to all enemies. If you stack strength on her and make sure she has Devout on the field, her self-healing is going to be obnoxious. This is going to make grievous wounds good because she's going to be doing so much self-healing. It really seems like it's going to be nutty. She doesn't have the highest strength to begin with, and that's for the best. But seriously, if you're using this character and you're not using male Aeson, then you are making a mistake. He increases the strength, he gives the shield, which allows the heals to take place. He does everything you want him to do, plus a bunch of damage on the side. Highly recommend with this situation. Oh, and hey, as a bonus, why don't you have a little Devout for your troubles? Here is the ultimate. She takes the form of her Sylvan Avenger for 8 seconds after casting. So it's important to note that the male transforms permanently, and the female transforms for up to 8 seconds after casting, which is good because if she transformed and stayed that way, that healing would not be able to be dealt with. It's too good. Upon transformation, she entangles all enemies for 3.5 seconds, dealing damage over time with total damage equal to 400% of the champion's strength. Now, this is basically just like the active skill on the other guy, except this time we get a description of what entangled means. Enemies cannot move or attack. Her ultimate hits every enemy on the field and they cannot move or attack for 3.5 seconds. Now, why is that good? It's a huge team AoE crowd control that is nutty. Why is it bad? Because she wants people to hit her so she can get stacks of her passive, and for almost half of her ultimate, they won't even have a chance to do that. So that balances things out just a little bit, I suppose, but it's not a great synergy that they built into the kit. So these kits are very complicated, and these guys do have a lot of health. I'm interested to see if they're going to do well as frontline tanks. It seems like their healing is going to put them in the place where they should be able to do that, even though they look like mages. A lot of people are expecting them to be weak in their elven form. I am not in that crowd. I think they're going to be strong and awesome just in general. As usual, it looks like the female is going to be a little bit better, although the male looks like he might be a little more fun. Do you absolutely need these characters? Well, you probably don't really need these characters. Number one, they're tanks. Number two, their damage isn't going to be very high. Number three, even though she's going to be sustaining a lot and it's going to be crazy and fun, and she's going to provide some okay healing for the team, I think that you can get that done elsewhere, and it's not really something that you can't live without. I could be wrong. This passive could just be totally game-changing, and all of your super high-strength people are going to be living forever because of it. It's possible. We don't ever know exactly how things are going to work. This is called speculation, ladies and gentlemen. I think they're going to be really good. I think that you're going to really love using the female. A lot of people aren't going to be willing to give up their female Lionstone and whatever other support character they use to put her on the team, so I think that's fine. That means we probably have a balanced character. Now, one thing that this is going to be really great for is double healer teams. I think that that's going to possibly be super strong because you have a tank already here, and then you could have a male Lume alongside it and a male Aeson to get all the buffs that you need for that, and you're well on your way to having a really strong team. Maybe you take female Devala, she's got a lot of healing going on, and you could even finish it out with maybe a female Ugrel or something, because she's got a lot of healing going on. I think it'd be a really annoying team. I think there's a lot of annoying options that you could do. I'm looking forward to using them, because they look real fun. So I hope that helps you understand their kits that are overly complicated, and I hope that the kits work out exactly as they're supposed to when the guys come out, because then that's gonna be a whole lot of fun and a pretty exciting week worth of content. If you like catching all of these breakdowns right when the information comes out, then feel free to subscribe. I would love to have you. For now, I want to thank you for watching. I have been RagePanda1, and I will see you in the next one.